Hey guys, what's going on? True Living Tribe. I hope you guys are enjoying your week. And everybody it's Thursday. It's the opportunity to be thankful. I guess every day is the opportunity to be thankful. So today I wanted to tune in and share a little bit about how I approach lifestyle with my executive clients, right? You may or may not know, but I've had the privilege of working with some of the top executives in the world, both in athletic performance, in Fortune 5 companies, and top entrepreneurs. People that have built multiple 8-figure businesses, 9-figure businesses, and so I'm really grateful to have spent a lot of time with some really amazing people. And over the course of the time that I spent with them, I learned and found habits, and what I needed to do was find a system of addressing those habits. And what I discovered is if you're not assessing, you're guessing. So I'm going to do some screen shares here in a little bit. I'm going to show you a little bit of the system of how I approach the initial look at where I need to focus in somebody's life. And I want to speak about a word that is really ruining people's lives. Now, we understand ourselves through language. And if you think about language, it's an idea. A word is an idea, and that word is kind of like the container for the idea. Now, we have this insane idea, which is this word treat. So when I say the word treat, what do you think of? Maybe you think of, a lot of times people think of treat, like you give yourself something, like on Halloween, right? Oh, I'm going to get a trick or treat, and they give me a treat. It's a piece of candy. I come from a health background. When I think of the word treat, I think of something like a medical treatment. All right, we're going to work on this particular muscle or this thing. We're going to go in there and we're going to treat this. But isn't it insane that there's this idea of treat? Like there's a time when it's appropriate to give ourselves something that we shouldn't be having, but it's the payoff for doing good work. So do you see how that's kind of an insane concept? So in that same way, we really want to be able to assess both our habits and our mindset in a way in which we become aware of concepts and ideas that are preventing our success. So without further ado, we've broken it down into what we call 7 essential lifestyle habits, right? And so if you were to look at your entire life, you've got time with your family, you've got your career, you've got your financial situation, you've got your business, you've got your friends, and there's all these different areas that we could look at. Today, we're kind of looking into lifestyle as it pertains to health, and if we were to take health and break it into what's required for the human body to be successful. And how does that carry over to all species, all animals? What do they need for the most part? And not all species, but certainly animals. For example, the dog. Right? What does the dog need? The dog needs water, hydration. Right? He needs nutrition, high quality food, nutrition. The dog needs to sleep. The dog needs to be in a stress-free environment. So thought. The dog to breathe. The dog needs to exercise, and the dog needs to be able to keep itself hygienically clean. And in that same way, those 7 essential lifestyle habits are the same things that you need to perform optimally if you're an executive or an athlete or whatever that is. So for me, the first thing that I want to be able to do is go in there and say, okay, does this person have hydration, nutrition, sleep, thoughts, breathing, exercise, and hygiene in a balanced format in their life and optimized? And so often what that looks like is creating an agenda where we're considering all of their work, everything that you're doing in your work, everything that you're doing in your personal life, and those 7 essential habits, and making sure that they're on your schedule. And that kind of is like setting a framework for your week, living intentionally, and then you live into that process. In other words, when are you going to exercise? When are you going to meditate? When are you going to breathe? And how can we optimize those for whatever mission you're trying to live, whether it's to go compete overseas, or if it's to show up powerfully for your family, or if it's to go from 7 to 8 figures. And so that's kind of what we've got to do. And in order for me to be able to support you in that, I've got to be able to look at it in your all in one spot. And that requires me looking at a schedule, right? And then normally what I'll do is I'll meet with somebody and we'll tweak that and we optimize each one of those things, and we look at their business and we strategize around their business and the whole 9 yards, right? Family, all that stuff. So inside of that, what directs the actual actions that take place in that time is the assessment process, which I'm about to show you. So what I'll do is I start off with, it's over 360 questions. It's multiple choice, and it's sometimes, often, rarely, or never. And it looks kind of like this. So this is you'll see that this person's overall stress is coming in there at a medium. I don't know if you guys can see this. Maybe I'll do one more zoom there. All right. So this person's overall stress is coming in at a medium, right? And that says, okay, great. I need to, we want to drop their stress levels down a little bit. It means we're probably going to need to do some exercises that are going to increase energy. And we're going to want to look through here to begin to decrease the total perception of stress on each organ system. So this allows me to look at how are you relating to the experience of life, right? So, for example, gastric function, GI inflammation, small intestine and pancreas, colon, these are all things that are taking place in your, right? So if your gut is inflamed, then what it's going to do is it's going to create leaky gut syndrome. It's going to increase your cortisol levels. It's going to elevate your stress, and it'll make it harder for you to lose weight. It'll also cloud your head. So I want to begin right off the bat by stabilizing your guts. And if you're scoring high in this area, that's really where we need to start. We need to look at your nutrition. We need to look at your diet, right? Because hydration, nutrition, sleep, hygiene, if we optimize those, you're going to be living at peak performance. And then it just becomes strategic from there. But the strategy, if we don't have that healthy body to energize a strategy, we really don't go anywhere. So I assess each one of these. I look at the liver and gallbladder, and I look at your glucose. You can see that we go through your circulation, and it's a pretty in-depth analysis. But you got to start with your gut. You want to start with your gut because, for example, you could have elevated liver, an elevated liver score, and what's going on is your leaky gut is allowing food particles to go into your bloodstream, and your liver is working extra hard to try to clear it out, right? So why would we begin to address the liver if what's really going on is at the gut? And the thing is that this is so comprehensive that you really, we oftentimes go to doctors and things like that, and we're chasing the symptoms of an underlying lifestyle problem that's preventing us from success. So it's really essential to be able to have a holistic approach. I found this to be one of my favorite because it not only does it give us the relationship that you have with your body in a numeric term, but it also begins to create awareness there. And awareness is really important if we want to have a breakthrough. I'm going to share this slide with you here. Whoop, not this one. Not this one. Let me see. Nope. Hold on. Nope. It is. Well, I'll just pull it up here right now. The AHA wheel. There we go. So some of you may or may not have seen this slide here. But this is the AHA wheel. Let me expand it up. And the deal with the AHA wheel is that, things kind of start in our awareness. And then once we're aware of them, we have the opportunity to accept or reject them. If we accept it, it becomes a learning mechanism, and we could then slide into agreement with it. The rest of our lives begin to align with the agreement of what we've acknowledged that we've become aware of. And once we have agreement, we can then take action. That action gives us the opportunity to accept the outcome of that action, which then brings a new awareness there. So we're going from a state of awareness to a stage of development, from a stage of development to a stage of awareness, and we're oscillating back and forth. So the more awareness we have, the more opportunity for ultimate action and acceptance we can get into. And that's what allows us to drive that growth. So this is what we call the AHA wheel. It's a piece of technology we use, and I teach our facilitators. So if we go back over here, and we're looking at the gut, because I didn't want to bring you guys through everything. I just wanted to just really provide some value for you for things that you could start thinking about right away. If we're looking at the gut, The Incas shouldn't be eating like the Eskimos. If you look at the Eskimo diet, it's largely, there's some fermented fruit in there, but it's largely fat and protein, and they need to have a nice stable insulin level. If you feed an Eskimo, give them a ton of sugar, their blood sugar levels are going to go all over the place. They're going to start getting diabetes. They're going to, there becomes a problem inside of their experience of living life because what they're eating is not supporting their unique individual needs. And in that same way, you have unique individual needs. And how we start off by assessing those needs is going through what we call a primal pattern diet questionnaire. And it looks to say, are you largely a polar type like the Eskimos, where you should be eating large amounts of fat, large amounts of protein, and fewer carbohydrates? Or are you possibly, are you a equatorial type, which is like the Inca, and you should be eating, you can see, much more carbohydrates, less proteins, and less fats? Or are you in the middle and you're balanced? Now remember that there's many different things that we look at that could be affecting this because you're a unique biochemical individual, right? But we've got to start somewhere, and where we start is with that intelligence that you have. I mean, if you think about your body, when you go in front of the refrigerator, there's this part of you that just intuitively knows what you should be eating to be healthy. And then there's this brain part of you which rationalizes yourself out of it. And so we really want to begin to create an authentic connection with that intelligence which is guiding your decision making. The dog naturally tries to migrate towards healthier options, things that are in line with its breed, things that are in line with what's going to help it. One of the best examples that I can give you is there was a study done, and there was a horse, and the horse was dying. And what they did was they took the horse and they let it out into the pasture because it had cancer, and it was freaking out, and they thought, oh, we're going to let it out, it's just going to pass away, or it'll have its last hurrah in the pasture. Well, it ran around and ate this shrub and ate that tree and ate this weed and drank that water, and they found that it wound up following a cure for itself. And then they wound up taking that same process that the horse went through and packaging it up and using it as a cure for its cancer or whatever disease it was that it was carrying at that time. So you have an intelligence that's inside of you that's guiding your decision making. If you're willing to listen to that intelligence, it will be probably one of the best sources of health that you can tap into, right? So we want to use a mix of science, modern medicine, intuition, to find that good space of alignment. And it starts off with an assessment, right? It starts off with getting really honest with where you're at. People say, well, what about blood work? I think blood work's really good, but it doesn't tell us everything, and it's also comparing your blood to hundreds and thousands of other people's blood. And you're not like hundreds of thousands. There's 14 different stomachs in the anatomy book, in the human anatomy book. You are a biochemical individual. So we want to begin to really fulfill on having that relationship that you have with your body, because that's what's going to make the biggest difference for you. When I'm working with high-performing athletes, high-performing executives, right? You can't have rational decision-making everywhere. You need to trust your gut, and your gut is this huge source of wisdom. So you got to get out of your way inside of that. So one of the systems that we use here is the Tachometer, and you can see fast oxidator, mixed oxidator, slow oxidator. We just kind of covered that. It's the way that you break down sugars and the way that you break down fat, really, right? If you break down sugar really quickly and your metabolism is really fast, throwing sugar in there is like a bunch of little twigs. What you did to your flame is you just had it, big giant flame, and then it burns out really quick. Where if you have a little flame that needs like lots of kindling, lots of little sugars, and you throw a log on there, you'll put out the flame. So that log, think of the log like fat. Think of those medium size twigs like protein, and then think of little things like kindling to be your carbohydrates. So again, not trying to go too deep into this. I hope you guys can probably see that there's huge conversations that we could have in these directions, and an educational process that I'm just scratching the surface on here. But I wanted to begin to get you to think about this inside of your own life. So I often will assess, like what I do is I have somebody send me pictures of their food and let me know how they felt when they were about to eat. Like obviously they're hungry, but how did you feel? You're based off of your last meal. How was your energy levels? What did that look like? Right in WhatsApp. And that's a great way we can keep track of things like your weight. We can keep track of things like anything that we want from there. So this here is a look at, what is your experience of too much carbohydrates versus your experience of too much fat and protein, and the slight differentiators, so you can begin to create a rational relationship with what you're experiencing. And like I said, it's when your head, heart, and guts fall into alignment, we begin to see that real next level of performance, right? So that kind of, what I'm looking at there is I'm saying, well, all right, is this person drinking water? Let me stop this share for a moment. Is this person drinking water? Are you drinking water? Yes or no? Is it high quality water? Is it water that it has chlorine in it, which is going to kill that microbiome, which is the good bacteria in your stomach? Are you drinking enough water? Recommended is half your body weight in ounces a day. If you're 200 pounds, that's 100 ounces. If you're 100 pounds, that's 50 ounces. Is the water that you're drinking naked and overprocessed? Because if the water that you're drinking is overprocessed, then what takes place is it pulls minerals out of your body, because your body needs those minerals to absorb the water. So if you don't have any minerals in your water, then your body needs to use its minerals to process the water, right? So that's one thing that we see. Hydration, nutrition, right? Are you eating right for what's called your metabolic type? This is what we've just shown you here. This is a baseline of metabolic typing. Your unique metabolism, and feeding your metabolism to stabilize your blood sugar and insulin levels and the whole 9 yards, right? Hydration, nutrition, sleep. And then, by the way, nutrition, it starts off with just that's a 20-word questionnaire, that one, to be able to balance out, am I a protein type? Am I a mixed type? Am I a carb type? And then from there, we create a relationship with our body and start fine-tuning that. So hydration, nutrition, sleep, getting 8 hours of sleep a day. When you do sleep, it does matter. The time that you fall asleep, it's when your body's repairing. You can't get something from nothing. So you can't take from your body energy that you're not putting back into it. And you put energy back into your body when you sleep. Most people think that their sleep is isolated. We look at our sleep and we try to adjust the sleeping part of our sleep. You're sleeping based off of what you do during the day. So if we just adjust what you're doing during the day, that's going to give the biggest carryover to the quality of your sleep, right? So hydration, nutrition, sleep, thoughts, making sure you got a mindful practice and you're living in line with who you authentically are. You're already perfect, whole, and complete. That may be uncomfortable for you. At the vibrational level, that experience of who you are is complete open possibility. It can feel vulnerable to be inside of the present moment. And so what we do is we collapse the present moment with what we call a notion of truth, something to be certain about in an uncertain experience. And if we hold on to our notion of truth to the deficit of who we truly are, sometimes we can forget that we have access to the holy grail of all of experience, which is where you are right now. Right now, you're fully alive, and you can experience the awe that you may at times can believe you can only experience at the top of the mountain, at the bottom of the mountain, because that awe is in you, because you're the awe, right? So hydration, nutrition, sleep, thoughts, breathing, making sure you breathe diaphragmatically, that baby breath. You ever see the baby breathing with the belly coming out? What happens is we go through life and we experience something stressful and we invert our breathing pattern. We literally hold our breath to fight it. What it does is it internally rotates our shoulders, it draws our stomach in and stabilizes our spine. So hydration, nutrition, sleep, thoughts, breathing are so key. We want to reopen that stomach. We want to pump that fresh blood around our organ system. And so it's key. Hydration, nutrition, sleep, thoughts, breathing, exercise, making sure that you're moving enough, and hygiene, right? Everybody hears about exercise. I think one of the biggest things that people think is that they can I can go exercise for 45 minutes a day and I'm good. No, it's about movement. It's about time over tension. You need to be pumping fresh blood in your organ system. That's why I got into so passionate about helping entrepreneurs and structuring their business, because I know that you're not going to be able to live a healthy and balanced lifestyle behind a computer. You have to be moving. So we've got to get your business to a place where you and your employees are constantly moving. So hydration, nutrition, sleep, thoughts, breathing, exercise, and hygiene. Look, hygiene is huge. I don't mean run around washing your hands everywhere. I mean the relationship that you have with your body and how you hold yourself is huge. When you look in front of the mirror and you scan your body from head to toe, you should feel exceptionally grateful for everything that you have in front of you and feel like it's an optimal performance. Where you don't, it's an awareness of an area where you should be focusing, whether that's like anything there, right? And remember, if you're taking care of yourself, you're taking care of, right? So we really want to look at these, at the languages, what we use, at the way that we live our lifestyle, because that's what's going to produce our levels of peak performance. That's what's going to produce your levels of peak performance. So hopefully you guys got some value out of that. These are the questionnaires that we wind up using just for the health component. As you know, we combined health, mindset, and business development together for peak performance. And this is how we begin to assess the health component of where are you at now? What does your nutrition program need to look like? What does your exercise program need to look like? How do we want to incorporate mindful things into your life? And remember, that vessel is your schedule. One of the greatest things that I recommend to my clients that we do when somebody comes in, we do this full-blown assessment that we assess their business and the structure and who in their lives we can help scale the business. And we look at their health and we look at their mindset. And then what we do is we ask you to create an agenda. And that agenda, you sit down once a week and you literally go through all these different points that you're looking to implement inside of your life. And you just get honest with yourself if you're able to implement them or not. And you want to look at your past week, what worked and what didn't work. And then look at the future week and live into a vision intentionally, which we call the navigation calibration process, right? Navigating the brain to be able to intentionally live your life. And this is how we work with professional athletes that want to go compete in, internationally in endurance races that last 5, 6, 7, 8 days. This is how we're able to design effective exercise programs that get more done in less time because we're looking at the aspects of life and really just fine tuning. And you can't make a ton of change all at once. You can have a massive breakthroughs. You don't need to implement tons of change all at once. You do need to be honest with yourself about where you are. And that begins with assessing in an open and honest and open-minded manner where you are today and getting crystal clear on what your dream looks like in the future so that you can begin to implement things. So guys, I got to rock and roll. I'm actually about to go teach a class right now. Hopefully you found some value. And if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm always looking to serve and help people. I can, maybe there's a book that we could recommend if you want to learn more. You're welcome to be part of the community. If you're not part of the True Living Tribe, join the Facebook group. And I'll see you. Have a great day. Bye for now.